Hey, we're back in the auto car, the Kia Ceed, and this time we're doing the tell me questions. The 14 questions of which you will be asked one on test day, and you have to just verbalise the thing you do. But I'm going to go through them so that hopefully it brings it to life a little more. So your tell me questions inside the car then. Tell me how you would check your brakes were working. So you'd say, at the start of every journey, at slow speed, I'll give the brake a press as I'm moving. The car should stop. The brakes should be firm, not soft, not spongy, not slack, words like that, and the car shouldn't pull to the side. Tell me how you check your brake lights were working. Well, what I'd do is I would press on the pedal, and if I could see my reflection in a shiny surface like a window or a parked car, then I'd do that. Or maybe I'd reverse the car up to it and then test the brake pedal, and then I could get the reflection, and then I knew my brake lights were working. Or if they say, perhaps, how will you check your brake lights are working? I can help if you want me to. Then you say, well, I'd send you around the back and I'd press the brake pedal. Then you could tell me if they worked. So that's a practical way. And then an in life, how would I do it way? If you find something heavy enough, like a house brick or a big heavy book, and lay that on the brake pedal, that creates enough weight and the lights would come on. You can nip round the back and have a look yourself. How would you turn on the rear fog light in this car, and how do you know it's on? We're back to lights. Now, we covered this in the other car briefly in terms of the headlight bit. So fog lights in this car, headlights need to be on. So 1 turn, 2 turns, and back on the dial over there, you might remember green jellyfish. So that's headlights on. Then we've got a little switch here. It rotates up. 1 little click gets you another green icon over there. They're your front driving lamps. If I turn them off in the reflection, you might be able to see them going off. Yeah, see it there? So they're the little white lights underneath the front bumper. But it's the fog light we're interested in. So you'd say I would turn on my headlights here, then I'd reach for this switch here, and I'd flick it all the way to the top. And then over here in this icon, in this display, I'll get an orange icon, and that's how I know my fog light's on. They'll then ask you, and when are you going to use the fog light then? You would say, when my visibility is seriously reduced. Seriously reduced is less than 100 meters, and it's all weather where that might happen. So it could be rain, could be snow, could be fog, could be maybe you're driving down through the countryside and maybe some rubbish is burning in a field or something and the smoke just blows over. Those are the scenarios in which you'd use it. How would you turn on full beam in this car, and how do you know it's on? So full beam, we're back to headlights again. So we're back over here, so let's go for the purpose of demonstration all the way off. So boom, boom, dipped headlight, or low beam, or green jellyfish. And then I would push the arm forward, so like so. And then I'd get a blue icon when I did that. And then I knew my full beam was on. How would you check your head restraint was best set to protect you in a crash? Now, the answer for this is really long and wordy, and you can learn it if you want to, but practically you would set the head restraint so that the top of your head was level with the top, or your eyes and ears were, or the frame of your glasses looked like they were in the middle, or maybe the center of your head was in the center of the head restraint. All of those answers would be sufficient. How would you check all your indicators worked? Now, the simplest way to do it is to hit the hazard warning button, then go around and look at all the indicators. You'd say, well, I press the hazard button here, and then on the dash, all of the indicators are going at the same time, all 6 of them, and you don't need for that button to work, because it's one of the in the car that works when you take the keys with you. So we've got the under the bonnet ones to do. We'll do those next. So we've covered how the brakes work, tyre pressures we did in a separate video, head restraint we've done, checking tyres for their depth, we've covered that in a separate video. We've covered switching headlights, we've covered rear fog light, we've covered how to check the brake lights are working, and all the indicators working. That leaves just 3. So how do you check your headlights and tail lights work? Well, back to headlights again. I'll turn them on, I'll go walk the car, and I'll make sure they worked. Because it tells you on the dashboard, oh, this light doesn't work, but go and have a look, because not every car is that clever. How do you check the power steering system was working? How do you know if it was faulty? So when the engine's on, for the purpose of demonstration, look at that, look, easy peasy, easy peasy, I can really turn it. So when the engine's on, it should be really easy. If it was heavy to turn and an icon came on that wouldn't go off, I'd know my power steering's faulty. So we'll take a little peep at that. So if I shut all this off for a sec, and then we take a little zoom in here. In a moment, you're going to see a little icon when I switch it all on that looks like a steering wheel with an exclamation point. Did you see it? Steering wheel with an exclamation point. It's on the top row, and it's the third little icon. So let's do it again so you get a look at it. There, steering wheel on, waits a second, boof, steering wheel light out. How would you know if your ABS system was faulty? So we're back to warning lights again. So again, I'm going to press the button. This time on the bottom row, you can see orange writing, the letters A, B, S, and it will come on, and then it will go off. There it goes, ABS on, couple of seconds, boom, 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 ABS off. So we've done the in the car ones. We've done how do you check the brakes work? We've done how do you check the head restraint? We've done how do you check your headlights and tail lights worked? We've done how do you know if there's a problem with ABS? We've done how do you check the directional indicators work? We've done how do you check the brake lights work? We've done how would you know if the power steering was faulty? We've done how would you turn on the rear fog light? We've done how would you switch headlights from main beam or low beam to high beam or full beam? And then that leaves us with the under the bonnet, and we're going to cover those next.